The year is 1348. The wind howls like a starving beast outside a timber cottage. Snow has buried the village roads. The well is frozen solid. Livestock have already begun to die. Inside, there is no electricity, no central heating, no $300 comforter from a luxury catalogue. And yet, they survive. While modern homes struggled during power outages at 20 degrees, medieval families slept through winters that dropped below 40 degrees in northern Europe and woke up alive. How? Not magic, not luck, but a sleeping system so brutally simple and so intelligently designed that we've completely forgotten. Tonight, we uncover the medieval blanket system that outperformed modern luxury bedding, and why your expensive comforter might actually be the reason you're cold. The winter did not arrive gently. It came like a siege. The wind screamed across the frozen fields, rattling wooden shutters and forcing icy air through every crack in the stone walls. Snow piled high against cottages, swallowing doorways and burying paths that once connected neighbor to neighbor. Wells froze solid. Rivers turned to glass. Livestock weakened. And when night fell, the darkness felt endless, thick, silent, and merciless. Inside these small medieval homes, there was no thermostat to adjust, no electric heater humming in the corner, no emergency hotline to call when the cold became unbearable. Firewood was precious. It could not burn all night. Once the hearth dimmed to embers, the true battle began, the battle against the creeping cold that pressed in from every direction. Stone walls radiated chill. The earth floor beneath the straw bedding held the memory of frost. Breath turned to mist in the air. Fingers stiffened. To fall asleep unprepared was dangerous. To lose body heat too quickly was deadly. And yet, families survived these nights, not because they were stronger than we are today, not because they didn't feel the cold. They survived because they understood it, they studied it, they adapted to it. Winter to them was not an inconvenience, it was an enemy, and like any enemy, it required strategy, discipline, and preparation to endure. What kept medieval families alive in brutal winters wasn't just a thick blanket. It was a carefully built system of layered warmth. They understood something many modern households overlook. Insulation works best in layers. Instead of relying on one heavy covering, they combined multiple natural materials, each serving a specific purpose. The base layer was often linen, breathable fabric that pulled moisture away from the body. Even in freezing conditions, the human body sweats during sleep. If that moisture stays trapped, it makes you colder. Linen helped keep the skin dry, which preserved body heat more effectively than many synthetic fabrics do today. Above the linen came thick wool blankets. Wool was the true secret weapon. Its fibers trap tiny pockets of air, creating natural insulation while still allowing airflow. Unlike modern materials that collapse under pressure, wool maintains loft and continues insulating even if slightly damp. In harsher regions, fur pelts were added as an outer layer to block drafts and retain even more warmth. The bedding itself often rested on straw or rope-supported mattresses that created another insulating barrier between the sleeper and the cold ground. This layering method didn't just add thickness. It created a heat-trapping environment where body warmth was recycled and preserved. Each layer worked together, forming a thermal shield around the sleeper. It wasn't luxury, it was intelligent survival engineering designed through centuries of experience. What makes medieval bedding so powerful isn't nostalgia, it's physics. Long before thermodynamics had a name, people understood through experience how heat behaves. Heat escapes through conduction, convection, radiation, and moisture loss. Medieval sleeping systems quietly addressed all four. Wool, for example, is crimped and elastic at a microscopic level, which allows it to trap thousands of tiny air pockets. Air is one of the best insulators available. Those pockets slow down heat transfer, meaning body warmth escapes far more slowly than it does through compressed synthetic fillings. Moisture management was another hidden advantage. When you sleep, your body releases humidity through breath and skin. In freezing environments, damp fabric becomes a heat thief. Many modern comforters trap that moisture close to the body. Wool and linen, however, absorb and release moisture while still maintaining insulation. Even slightly damp wool continues to insulate, which is why it has been trusted for centuries in harsh climates. Then there is structure. Medieval bedding. Systems didn't flatten into a single compressed layer. They maintained loft, creating separation between the body and cold surfaces. Combined with straw mattresses and enclosed bed frames, they minimized drafts, reducing convective heat loss. What appears primitive was actually a passive thermal system. No electricity, no thermostats. Just natural materials arranged in a way that slowed heat escape and preserved warmth. It wasn't accidental. It was survival refined into science, long before science explained why it worked so well. The medieval bed was not placed in the center of a wide, open room the way modern beds are today. It was built like a shelter within a shelter. The four-poster bed, often surrounded by thick curtains or wooden panels, functioned as a private microclimate inside a cold stone house. Medieval homes were drafty, with small windows, gaps in timber, and little insulation in the walls. Instead of trying to heat the entire room, which would have been nearly impossible, they focused on heating the space that mattered most, the space around the body. Heavy bed curtains made from wool or thick woven fabric were drawn tightly at night, sealing in warmth. Body heat accumulated inside this enclosed area and stayed there instead of drifting upward toward the ceiling or escaping through cracks. Over time, the small air pocket inside the bed became noticeably warmer than the rest of the room. It was a simple but highly effective way to reduce convective heat loss caused by moving cold air. The bed frame itself also helped. Raised off the floor, it prevented direct contact with freezing stone surfaces. Straw-filled mattresses added another insulating barrier. In wealthier households, even carved wooden headboards and enclosed sides blocked drafts from creeping in. This wasn't decoration or luxury design. It was survival architecture. The four-poster bed acted like a thermal cocoon, concentrating warmth where it was needed most and turning a freezing chamber into a survivable sleeping space. Today, we spend hundreds of dollars on premium comforters, memory foam mattresses, and branded all-season duvets, yet many people still wake up cold in the middle of the night. The problem isn't always the price, it's the design philosophy. Modern bedding often relies on a single thick layer, meant to do everything at once. It looks luxurious, feels soft at first touch, and promises warmth with impressive marketing terms. But once compressed under body weight, much of that insulation loses its loft, reducing its ability to trap air. And trapped air is what actually keeps you warm. Modern bedrooms are also large, open spaces with high ceilings and constant air. Circulation from HVAC systems. We attempt to heat the entire room rather than creating a smaller, controlled sleeping environment. Drafts move freely, warm air rises, cold air settles. Without layered barriers or enclosed bed structures, body heat escapes quickly into the surrounding space. Many synthetic materials also struggle with moisture management. As you sleep, humidity builds beneath the blanket. If that moisture lingers, it can make the body feel cooler over time. Unlike natural wool, which regulates temperature and handles dampness more effectively, synthetic fills often trap moisture close to the skin. The medieval system wasn't about comfort marketing. It was about minimizing heat loss from every angle. When modern bedding fails, it's not because it's thin. It's because it ignores the layered strategy and microclimate thinking that once made survival possible in far harsher winters. If you enjoy uncovering forgotten history and survival secrets like this, make sure to subscribe and join us for the next story.